Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Thursday, 20th June 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. St. Kitts and Nevis may have as many or even more citizens by investment than actual citizens. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis has affirmed that over 50,000 passports have been issued under the Citizenship by Investment program. According to Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew, 42,000 passports were issued under the previous administration, and the number of economic citizens may have either exceeded or equaled the number of citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The latest census data shows that St. Kitts and Nevis has a population of 51,320 people. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline reports.
Madam Speaker, imagine under the previous St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party's watch, with the then CBI investment option over a span of 7 years between 2008 and 2015, 10,000 passports. But under the member for number 7's watch, on the Team Unity's watch, with their CBI investment options, 42,979 passports were issued. Madam Speaker, I think that is about the population of St. Kitts. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I can say we are over 50,000 of passports issued. The number of passports issued is possibly as much as the population at this particular time, or could be a little higher.
For several months, the media and some sections of the country have been calling for the figures of the number of passports issued under the program. But the Prime Minister at the time said an audit was being done on the program and the figures would be released in due course. Meanwhile, some commentators, such as former Government Minister Dwyer Astapan, have raised concerns about the downsides of having a number of economic citizens with equal rights as locals. In a recent interview on regional television program The Narrative on WPG-10 in Grenada, Mr. Astapan suggested economic citizens could outmaneuver locals in St. Kitts and Nevis if they decide to establish themselves in the country.
And I don't mind if they don't step foot in the country. I don't mind. But I don't want people who are poor like me, who are going to come here to Scrunt and open a little shop, selling Vienna sausages and sardines, and selling a little chicken and chips, and displacing a mom and pop. And remember, their children, and when they marry, if they divorce and get married, the new spouse is married to a citizen. They can apply. It is too open-ended. It is dangerous. And right now, it will be my guess, because the governments do not publish the data, it will be my guess that we have more economic citizens than natural born or descendant or naturalized citizens in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're only 55,000 natural born descendants and naturalized. It's not sustainable.
And you may have sold more citizenship packages than that number.
I am pretty confident, not we may have, but we have.
The CBI program is currently under much scrutiny following the filing of a lawsuit by MSR Media SKN Limited, which alleges a scam involving a developer, former Prime Ministers of St. Kitts and Nevis, and government officials from St. Lucia. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
The Ministry of Finance and Export-Import Bank of the United States have entered into financial and technical agreement which will further strengthen the collaborative ties between Trinidad and Tobago and the United States. Mahalia Joseph Wharton of TTT News reports.
Minister of Finance Colin Imbert says the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with the Export-Import Bank of the United States will benefit Trinidad and Tobago in the form of financial and technical support.
So, the whole point of this arrangement is that there are certain essential things that we need to get, particularly in the area of national security, and the U.S. is offering this to us and is also offering a financial solution at the same time and technical support.
Minister Imbert clarified that this financial agreement offers a facility of up to $500 million with a scope for expansion afterwards. He said in the first instance it will be used to address national security concerns.
We are looking at enhancing our capability in our maritime domain, search and rescue, and patrolling our maritime domain, and that's where the national security perspective comes in. So that's the initial thrust of the relationship, is to finance equipment and services and technical support with respect to managing and securing our maritime domain.
Ambassador to the United States of America Candace Bond said that after discussions with the government of Trinidad and Tobago, they had compiled a list of ways to tackle issues presently affecting the Caribbean, including Trinidad and Tobago.
If I may just add that it is a critical time for this agreement and cooperation. Illicit trafficking occurring in the Caribbean, particularly the South and Eastern Caribbean, has increased about 40% over the past year and is increasing exponentially. So we really listened to the government and we really listened to the TTDF.
The Ministry of Finance and the U.S. Exim Bank said these discussions can also benefit small and individual business owners.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
The Elections and Boundaries Commission of Trinidad and Tobago has released the preliminary results for Monday's by-election in Lengual Indian Walk. The seat on the Princestown Regional Corporation has been won by the PNM candidate Otley Grantoom. Again, TTT News has more with Terry and Brown Campbell.
The Elections and Boundaries Commission's preliminary results for the 2024 local government elections in Lengua Indian Walk states that the People's National Movement's candidate, Otley Grantoom, won the seat with 1,986 votes.
And I'm proud tonight of the PNM government, whom has found me fit to accept to serve in this capacity, and certainly I commit myself to represent them and to represent them proudly, make them feel proud of all that I do, and also to meet the needs of the residents and make them feel proud that they have chosen me to serve them and they're getting proper representation.
Amen. Well, Minister of Trade and Industry and the PNM's campaign coordinator for Maruga Tableland, Paula Gopi-Schoon, conveyed congratulations to the team on behalf of the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley.
Well, let me say that this is just a start. And I think we had a fantastic candidate to start with. He's phenomenal, and I think the people trust him, and that's why they put their trust in him. And so he's done very well, but it means that the service starts right away. He has to serve, and he's committed to that because he's been serving the residents of religiously for 28 years.
Meanwhile, Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Paris Al-Rawi, said despite being the lone PNM councillor in the Princestown Regional Corporations Council, Pastor Grantham would have his part to play.
He comes under the banner of local government reform. In the fully operationalized version, he gets to be the chairman of the audit committee, which means that there's greater scrutiny on the spending of the corporation. And we are convinced that local government reform is the policy which will take us to where we want to go.
The United National Congress, Nicole Gopal, received 1,394 votes, while independent Peterson Morales received 10 votes. The EBC noted the voter turnout for the Lengua Indian Walk seat was over 40%, up from the over 35% voter turnout last year during the August local government elections. Terry Ann Brown Campbell, TTT News.
Political antics may be reaching its peak as the main parties in Jamaica, the JLP and the PNP, continue to trade verbal blows. In the latest exchange, a state minister has challenged two veteran PNP members, accusing them of making desperate attempts to spread misinformation. CVM's Natalia Clark reports.
Bunting's comment regarding the Sparks program are unbecoming, disgraceful, and false.
That's JLP MP Juliet Cuthbert Flynn's reaction to opposition member Peter Bunting, saying the government's $40 billion Spark program is a mask for corruption.
We are prophesying that Chinese company are getting a contract. We are prophesying that is financing for the Labour Party in your coming election.
The program will be going to international tender and is above board. What he has alluded to is how the PNP used to use the programs over the years for their political gain.
The MP suggests that Bunting's stance may be influenced by concerns that continued improvements in Jamaica's road networks could lead to increased support for the Andrew Holness-led government.
And I think he should be ashamed to speak about the state of the roads after the PNP promised us pothole-free by 2003. That was a hollow promise which was never fulfilled. And so I think Bunting's comment is another indicator of how the PNP are desperate.
Ian Hales, the PNP's vice president, didn't escape her jabs. She pointed to a video in which he alleges 3 prisons are being built in Westmoreland, one on the grounds of the Landila Cultural Centre.
There are 2 police stations that will be built in Westmoreland, one in Frome and one in Little London. There will be no police station built on the cultural site in Westmoreland. There will be a divisional headquarters that will be built close to the cultural site.
She explains that these facilities must be completed with holding areas for detainees and explains the move to build new police stations was a necessity.
The government of Jamaica is intent on improving the conditions and morale of our police force by giving them the appropriate workspace. It is a disgraceful act that Ian Hales has sought to politicize efforts to improve the working conditions of the police and make deceitful and false allegations that 3 prisons are to be built in Westmoreland.
She's urging Jamaicans to take note of what she says are the varying desperate attempts of the PNP to spread misinformation ahead of a general election.
We should reject this kind of despicable type of politics.
Natalia Clark, CVM News.
The Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley speaks about the Afrexim Bank conference recently held in the Bahamas. Details in this ZNS News item.
It's projected that this year Africa will account for 11 of the world's 20 fastest growing economies. The continent set to remain the 2nd fastest growing region behind Asia. And fresh on the heels of the Afrexim annual meeting, the Caribbean is being urged to embrace all that is available through trade with Africa. Following the conference, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley spoke to reporters about the significant role the African Export-Import Bank has played in helping the Caribbean.
This may have started for the public with respect to the Trade and Investment Forum, but deep in the middle of COVID, when we talked about African Medical Supplies Platform when I was chairing CARICOM, and I brought CARICOM to the table to work with the African Union, the African Exim Bank was critical in terms of underwriting the purchases of the therapeutics, the equipment, and the vaccines for those who wanted to use that pooled procurement platform.
During the 3-day conference at the Bahama Resort, the bank signed a number of MOUs with countries and institutions, including a $30 million loan with the Bahamas for the revitalization of the former International Bazaar and surrounding area in Freeport. Prime Minister Motley is happy to see Caribbean countries embrace the bank and, by extension, the African continent, although more has to be done to impact ordinary people both in this region and in Africa.
While we are seeing the movement at the institutional level, and we're seeing it grow now at the level of businessmen and financiers, I want to see it at the level of ordinary people. And that's where the issue of transport, access to transport comes in.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.